Hello everyone. Today I will talk about Python classes and I'll discuss about why they even exist and when you need to use classes. And how do you use them? So classes do exist to allow us to construct entities that exist in the real world. So if you think about a Toyota Camry factory where they produce several hundreds of thousands of Toyota Camry every year, you would suppose that they have a way to repeatedly produce the same exact replica of a Toyota Camry. So they are not repeating the same process. If they produced a single car, the next time they are producing the next one, they will just repeat what they've done the first time. They are not starting from scratch again to repeat the exact same process that they've done the first time until the nth number that they're producing. So that's the same thing that class does for us. In the real world, we have entities. Let's take a university for an instance. A university is an entity that has attributes or entities like a university has a location, it has a faculty, it has a VC, it has lecturers, it has at the least, I believe almost every university has a student accommodation. Universities have staff, they have student services, they do have student itself, and among other things that universities actually do have. So if we think about this real world entity called a university, in programming terms, if you want to repeatedly construct a university, which means we have OAU, we have UI. So let's say these are the commonalities between every single university. And if we now have types of university or different types of uni, here we have OAU, we have UI, we have UI, then we have uni-like. Every time you want to produce a new university, let's say we're trying to build a prototype that we want to carry from, we want to build it once, and then when we go to, let's say, Ibadan, we just plant that prototype there, it produces the University of Ibadan for us. We take the same prototype or the same factory or the same abstraction, we take it to Lagos, we put it there, it produces the University of Lagos for us. We take the same thing, we go to Ife, we put it in Ife, it produces OAU for us. So this is exactly what classes do for you. They allow you to construct, they allow you to define a certain entity with all the attributes that entity has. Everything that entity can do, all of its behaviors. So basically, they allow you to define behaviors of an entity, attributes of an entity, among several other things that you can do with classes. So when you need classes, now when you find that you are going to do the same work over and over again, let's say let's call somebody a university producer. A university producer goes from city to city and produces new university. When this person goes to Ibadan, you don't expect him to start from scratch, start planning, start thinking, start doing all the same thing to produce that University of Ibadan, then go to Lagos again and start from scratch without reusing the existing knowledge from producing University of Ibadan. So when you find that you are producing something, you're creating something, you're abstracting something that is going to be done several number of times over and over again, and there are commonalities between the behaviors and the attributes of that entity, that's when you need a class. So when you find commonalities that will be reused over and over again, that's when you need classes. Now, how do we actually have a class? How do we create a class? So in Python, you can start with the keyword class, like we've been discussing. Let's do class university. Here you've defined a class called university, and in Python, when you instantiate a class, there's a method called __init, which basically is the constructor method. When they say constructor method, means every time you create a new entity, we are creating this university entity now. When I'm creating it and I want to create it with some default behavior, some default argument, some default attributes or parameters, I would define this init method on it. So let's say a university is always going to have a location. It's going to have a vice chancellor. Let's stop at this for now. The first argument I've passed in is the self, which is the class itself. This is the way Python does it. Yeah. Every time you define a class and you define a method on that class, you need to pass the first argument to be an instance of that class. So Python does that for you implicitly when you actually invoke that class. So what I'm going to do next, I'll do self here refers to the class itself, which is the university now. I'm going to do self.location. It's the location that I passed in when this class has been instantiated. I'm going to do self.vc equals to the VC that was passed in when this class will be instantiated. So let's say, like I discussed earlier, that we have OAU. Let's construct a new class called OAU. Let's say university. All right. University is the general abstraction that allows us to construct a university. So now let's say we've gone to Ife, right? We take this university class with us, this real world thing. We take it to Ife, bam, we've landed in Ife. We say the location we are is what? Ife. We want to assign a VC to that university that we are producing, that we're building. We call that Ife VC. So with this that we have, if we do print, so what I've just done is I've defined a class called university and I've just produced a university. I can do UI to be a university as well, but even though those attributes are common, they're still different. So now I'll do the location of UI is Ibadan. Let's say the VC for University of Ibadan is UI VC. Let's do another one for Unilag, which is going to be a uni in Lagos. location is Lagos. Sorry for that. And university, let's say lag Unilag VC. So when you think about it, easily I've generated so quickly, I've produced 3 universities just by having that single class university. So which means if I want to construct 10,000, 1 million nth number of universities, I just need to have a single class that does all of the thing that is common to any university in the world. So if I say let's now try to have a new method that is going to say get location. For instance, like I said, it's going to take the class instance as the first parameter, and in this case, this is a getter method. We are not passing any attribute in, and I'm just going to return self.location. I'm going to also do def get vc, takes the first instance of the class as the attribute, and I return whatever self.vc is. So I've added 2 extra methods to this class. The first class is the class constructor method, which allows me to define at the instantiation time the attributes that the class is going to need by default. The get location is a new method that is going to pull out from me that's going to do a particular maybe dynamic logic or whatever I want you to do on the instance of the class. So in these cases, OAU is an instance of a university, UI is an instance of a university, Unilag is an instance of a university. If I do OAU dot get location, that should tell me something different from when I say UI dot get location, or when I do Unilag dot get location. If I do print OAU get location, and I do print UI dot get location, and I do print Unilag dot get location, I'm going to add to the side so that we can see it properly. I'll say this is UI. No, just not to add any other visual plot to it. So let's run this and see what it gives back to us. Basically, what I need to do is just to call the file name with the Python keyword first. So the file that I've written this in is classes.py, and I just have to precede that file name with Python. So good. What we have here is, when I said the first line I did was print OAU location, it gave back to me Ife. I said print UI location, it gave me Ibadan. I said print Unilag location, it gave me Lagos. So basically, this is how to construct a class. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you.